My name's Michelle Hirsch. I'm entering your appetizer contest for the Philadelphia cream cheese. And on my last video I submitted, I had talked about how I like to cook, but I cut out so much of that stuff because I didn't have enough time. So on this video I will talk about my history and how I like to cook and how long it's been. I have actually liked to cook when I was about 1 or 2. No joke. I can remember at the age of 1 standing on a ladder in my mom's kitchen watching her. I can remember pulling out her pots and pans in her cupboards and going in there with my blanket and pillow and taking a nap. I really enjoyed the kitchen. I'll give you some more stories along the way, but the appetizer I'm entering is a recipe I had received when I was in home economics years ago, just a few years ago. And it's an appetizer that I have remembered in my head. It's so simple and it's very easy and quick to make. But the good thing about this recipe is that you can take it and change it into a completely different recipe by adding different ingredients. So you don't have to go with what I make it. You can add or take away. And the funny thing is that kids actually like this recipe too. So it could be an easy after-school snack as well as an adult appetizer during the hors d'oeuvre hour. So I will see you in a little bit. So I'm back. The first thing I'm going to do is put 8 ounces of cream cheese into my blender. I'm going to whip it up until it's very, very light in consistency, and I'll be back. So Paula, I have put all of my seasonings in a little bowl. It's going to be easier for you to see. But these are some of the basic seasonings that this recipe has in it, and I have added a few along the way. But the cincher is actually this one right here, prepared horseradish. That's what gives it the unique flavor. But I have added some other ingredients like thyme, but onion powder, garlic powder, chili powder, and paprika are the basics that came with this recipe when I received it years ago. But I have added my own little kicks and touches along the way. So I'm going to add this to the whipped up cream cheese. And I also have in this bowl of seasoning some ground up black pepper. And I also have about an 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to continue mixing this till it's thoroughly blended, and then we'll continue with the recipe. So I've completely blended the horseradish and the other seasonings together, and while I was mixing it, it gave such a perfume off. It smells so wonderful in the kitchen right now. And it has just a very light touch of a color to the cream cheese. And you can see little speckles of seasoning, but it smells so elegant. Yep, you're looking at it. This is the mixed ingredient for this appetizer. This is one of the key components besides the horseradish that gives this appetizer a very unique and smoky taste. This is smoked bacon. I have cut it up into very small pieces. I'm going to cook this to where it's almost completely done because it will finish cooking later in the show. I'm also going to add to this, so this is my own little twist on it, some smoked linguiça sausage. And you can add any sausage you want. You can add hot or mild, Italian or brat, whatever type of flavor you like, but be smoky or taste, that's what I prefer. My kids like the smoked taste. And then once this continues to cook, at the very end I'm going to add to this, at the very end, about 1/4 cup of finely chopped onion. Very, very fine. I don't want it any bigger than that. And I don't want it to cook all the way through. I want a little bit of crisp from that onion. So I'm going to turn this off and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I have finished cooking the bacon and the sausage with the onion. The onion still has a little crisp to it. Now I'm going to have a cup full here of a variety of cheeses. You can use any cheese you want, but I chose to use a Jack and a Colby. And these are a milder cheese if you want to use something a little sharper, which you can add a little bit of a stronger taste. I also have over here some shredded Parmesan Reggiano cheese, about an eighth to a fourth of a cup. This is a very strong cheese, so I don't need a lot of that. But again, it's your choosing. You can use anything you want. So I'm going to add to the cream cheese mixture the shredded cheese. And then I have chili sauce here. I'm going to add about a half a bottle. If you don't like it strong from the chili sauce, you can actually use ketchup too. Well, half this bottle. I'm going to gently fold this in. That's pretty good right there. Now at this point I'm going to add the bacon. So I added the bacon, sausage, and the onion combination. I'm going to again gently stir this together. Now this original recipe did not have cream cheese, so I'm adding the cream cheese, and of course everything that I've kind of added along the years too. Get to the very bottom, make sure I get this in here. Now I have always been a person to experiment with food, and I'll give you a little story. When my husband and I first got married, it was our first year, we're newlyweds, and I grew up making a lot of casseroles. And I decided I'm going to put some cloves, ground up cloves, in a hamburger elbow dish. Well, let's just say that dish didn't get eaten. So I had never again made that dish with cloves, but my husband continually reminds me, are you going to put ground cloves in it? But I grew up basically in my mother and father's kitchen watching them cook. And every major holiday, we always would have get-togethers at my grandmother's house. And my grandmother's kitchen was enormous, to me at least. And I would watch my grandmother and my aunts cook there. Big chickens, turkeys. Even my grandfather, he would get involved. He had a huge roaster in his basement. And the whole family would be down there, watch him cook, you know. Okay, so I started finishing this recipe, and I was saying before you could put this on crackers. You can put it on little pieces of sliced French bread or sourdough, and you only want a thin layer, something like that. Just a thin layer. And try to leave a little edge on the crackers because it will melt down a little bit. And then once you have your platter that's oven-proof, I'm going to put an oven-proof platter, something like this, or a glass one. Once it's filled up, put it in a broiler under 425, and just for about a few minutes. You need to watch it. Don't walk away. You need to watch it cooking because you will burn them. And then I'm going to give you little extra pointers on making this dish any way you want. For example, if you want to, after you have creamed or lightened up the cream cheese, you could add a can of cooked beans, pinto beans or kidney beans, I mean the white ones, cannelli or navy beans. And you can also add into this mixture after you creamed everything up is some finely chopped up chestnuts for a little extra crisp. You can also, if you want to go into more of a Hispanic dish like this, you could add some chopped up chilies, polenta. I got this in the grocery section. It's already pre-made. So here's the final product. I have it on cracker and bread, and I topped it off with some sliced tomatoes, very small cherry tomatoes. And these are actually the grape tomatoes. They have a little sweeter taste to it, and a few pieces of chive. But I cannot wait to get my mouth on one of those appetizers. So yummy. So, what'd you think? Pretty easy to make. I can't wait to make it again for my next get-together for my family. It's something that's very, very easy to make, and it's appealing to everybody. It has cheeses in it and meats,